Diamonds are forever. Dustin the Diamond Poirier successfully defeats McGregor in the second round by knockout. And honestly, this comes to a surprise. This came to a surprise to many UFC fans, as everyone was expecting Poirier to be the gateway for McGregor to fight for the lightweight belt. But surprise, surprise, Dustin Diamond Poirier showed an outstanding exemplification of what striking really is into mixed martial arts. He early on in the fight invested in leg kicks and made sure that McGregor would struggle to move, and Conor McGregor incorporated more of a boxing base rather than his normal wide karate stance. Both stances were wide, to be honest, but I think he's more effective when he's utilizing the karate stance than the boxing stance. And what I've noticed and what we've noticed as UFC fans is that Dustin Poirier invested earlier on the leg kicks, and eventually McGregor struggled to walk, and then Poirier put the pressure on McGregor. And generally what we've also noticed was that Conor McGregor is an excellent counter striker, so I don't understand the concept of him coming forward and trying to be the pressure fighter when that's not his style. His style is to move backwards a little bit, just slip and counter. But we saw a completely different style from McGregor this morning or yesterday, whatever you want to call it. It's just so disappointing, not gonna lie, because I might sound like a McGregor fanboy, but the reality is it's very disappointing to see him lose, and not just lose, but by knockout. This is the first time ever in the UFC or ever in McGregor's career that he had been knocked out. He had been submitted by Nate Diaz, he had been submitted by Khabib Nurmagomedov, but he had actually never been knocked out by any person ever in UFC history, or his career, professional career ever in Cage Warriors or the UFC. Just been choked out by Nate Diaz at UFC 196 in March of 2016 and Khabib Nurmagomedov in October of 2018. So that's submitted, that's it. So this is the first time he actually been knocked out. So yeah, and again, people are wondering, why is he fighting? And I've also got that question, to be honest. What's the purpose of him fighting? He's not as hungry as the likes of Dustin Poirier, and it's a bit of a weird thing, to be honest. He doesn't have the same passion and determination for fighting as when he first came. I'm talking about around 2015 to around 2013 to 2015, maybe somewhere in 2016, when he became the first simultaneous two division UFC champion of the world. He had the determination, he had the courage, he had the passion to fight. But after the Floyd Mayweather fight in August of 2017, and he made like something around the figure of $200 million, like regardless of what someone says, like he lost the motivation to fight. He started a successful business called Proper 12, his whiskey, like the Proper Irish Liquid, the Proper Irish Proper 12, and that became a very successful whiskey brand in the world. So yeah, what's the motivation for him to fight? Whereas El Diamante, Dustin the Diamond Poirier from Lafayette, Louisiana, mate, that guy had been fighting. He had a fight in 2020. McGregor only had one fight around the start of 2020. Dustin Poirier fought Dan Hooker. I'm talking about probably the best fight of 2020, which I voted the best fight of 2020. So he knows how it feels like being in the octagon where there's barely any crowd. McGregor did. So McGregor fought Cowboy at the start, just right before the nations, all the countries essentially in the world went on like a COVID-19 lockdown. He fought Cowboy, and everyone was excited. He knocked out Cowboy, Cardano Cerrone, within like 1 minute of the first round. And honestly, for UFC fans, it's kind of disappointing, especially for McGregor fans, that we've expected that something special is going to happen. He's going to knock Poirier out, because Poirier could be very reckless with his striking. But oh my God, that I'm talking about beautiful, sensational kickboxing from Dustin Poirier, outstanding, invested in the legs earlier on, and then just outbox McGregor. I think also McGregor probably struggled facing another southpaw, because remember, he lost to Nate Diaz, who was a southpaw as well. So I'm not trying to make excuses for the notorious Conor McGregor, but again, I think one of the reasons why he lost was obviously inactivity very important, and obviously you can't take the credit away from Dustin Poirier being just an incredible fighter, an incredible striker, and of course the fact that Poirier is a southpaw rather than anything else, to be honest. So yes, he's a fun boy, a fun boy. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so that is this quick post-fight analysis of the notorious Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. So if and okay, for the co-main event, Dan Hooker fought Michael Chandler, and Chandler knocked Hooker out in the second round as well, if I'm not mistaken, with a just a right to the body and a hook up, and Dan Hooker got knocked out, which is kind of bad, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm also a fan of Dan Hooker, but I also like Michael Chandler. I like all these fighters. It's just UFC 257 turned out the way I didn't want it to, because the fighters I actually was routing for, like supporting, actually lost, like obviously McGregor and Hooker. Anyways, yes, so I think there could be this opportunity where Michael Chandler, if Habib refuses if Habib doesn't completely vacate the belt and chooses to fight, I think instead of making a fight between Poirier and Habib, or Michael Chandler and Habib Nurmagomedov, I think you should make a fight between Poirier and Michael Chandler, and then the winner faces Habib Nurmagomedov if he doesn't retire. But if Habib chooses to retire, then I think the best option is to make a fight between for the vacant title, make a fight between Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Michael Chandler. So yeah, Michael Chandler is essentially one of the best lightweights in the world. It's just that he was one of the fighters who actually fought outside the UFC. He had fought in Bellator, and I'm talking about back in the day when he fought the likes of Eddie Alvarez in Bellator in 2011. Very explosive, high level wrestler, Division 1 All-American wrestler in Missouri State. So yeah, Michael Chandler is a great fighter. So I think the best obviously thing to do is what I've just mentioned, to make a fight between Habib and the winner of Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. But if Habib doesn't retires or vacates the belt, then making a fight between Poirier and Chandler for the vacant belt would be would be a very viable option. So ladies and gentlemen, señoras, señores,